Hello and welcome to Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. In today's video we're going to see can we beat the game without collecting any shines. There's only one rule for this challenge: don't touch any shiny objects. If I do, then I have to load from a previous save. In the top corner you will see a counter. That counter tells you exactly how many shiny objects total I have picked up. And with that out of the way, let's begin. So we start off in SpongeBob's house, where immediately we're greeted with two doors. One door has 10 shines and the other has 50. Now you may be thinking, well, that means you need 60 to advance. But you would actually be wrong. We only need the 50 for the second door. We don't even need to go through the first door at all. What you want to do is collect every shine in the kitchen and the first shine on your right in the bathroom. With this, you'll have exactly 50 and you'll be able to grab the first spatula. Now I will admit I did mess up a few times and had to restart. Luckily this is only the beginning of the game, but it did tell me that this was going to be a lot more difficult than I originally thought. That brings our total shinies leaving SpongeBob's house to 50. Once we leave SpongeBob's house, we need to go over to Patrick. He'll give us our first sock of the game, and we'll be good to go into his home. Once we're inside, we need to break his couch. This will spawn another sock. We just need to do a short jump to avoid the shine above it, and then we move on to Squidward's house. Once we're inside Squidward's house, all we need to do is jump around for a few seconds. I would attempt to get the sock, but it would require me to collect some shines. After doing this, he'll give us a spatula, so it would be safe to leave. I decided that before I wanted to go to Jellyfish Fields, I would get the spatula on top of SpongeBob's house. It turns out this is impossible without breaking two tikis. The button can't be pressed any other way, so we're going to have to skip it for now. This means that I can't even get the extra health that is on top of Squidward's house. So this means we're going straight to Jellyfish Fields. Almost immediately after entering Jellyfish Fields, we meet our first major obstacle. It is a toll shell that costs 125 shines. After about 5 minutes of looking, I decided that there wasn't actually a way around this. So I decided to just collect the shines and go on my way. Once I reached the mountain, I realized that my lack of platforming skills was going to be a bit of a problem. You see, there are some platforms that are so small, it's almost impossible to get onto them without grabbing the shines that are there. The thing is, that wasn't the case with this area. I just suck at jumping and had to reset about 7 times. I decided to give the bungee section a try. Turns out this isn't possible either. My next option was to go to the very bottom and try to jump to it that way. Turns out this spatula can only be grabbed if you're using the bungee jump, as attempting to jump to it just causes you to go right through it. The good news is though, I did collect a sock, so that is a bonus. Next up are about 7 platforms with a single shiny on each one. These platforms feel so small that it's almost impossible to get across them without touching a shiny. After about 20 minutes, I got the luck I needed and was able to bounce across them, falling off of the last one but still getting the checkpoint at the end. You may also notice that I'm using 3 save slots instead of 1 or 2. This is because, while saving, I accidentally saved over my 100% profile that I had from when I streamed the game. This filled me with an unbelievable amount of anger, but I took a deep breath and I decided to continue this challenge, even if the worst was yet to come for this level. There wasn't really anything notable for the next little while. I did end up having to restart a save a few times after touching shines that I hadn't actually noticed in the grass. There were only 2 notable parts to this section. The first part is a teeter platform. On both sides there is a single shine underneath. These can be avoided by just jumping your way across. Sadly though, the second part is unavoidable. You will need to destroy a duplicatatron and hope that the blast doesn't destroy any of the robots around. This next section is the first slide area of the game. I recommend hugging the wall as much as possible in this section. This will help to avoid most of the tikis and shines that you will encounter. Once you get here, you'll want to turn off onto the pathway that is presented to you. In this area, there's a lot less tikis and a lot less shines. This will make things easier, as well as giving you a sock once you're about halfway through it. To finish off this slide, you'll want to hug the wall as much as possible to only break the edge tikis. Sadly though, we won't be able to get the sock that's at the end of this ramp, because it would require us to jump and collect some shines. We are now at an area that requires us to hit 3 buttons on 3 different small islands. This part is relatively easy as long as you are making careful jumps. Some people think that it is required to destroy the Duplicatrons, but that is simply not true. The only area that is a real issue is the far platform that requires you to collect a few shines on the way up. At this point, we now get to play as Patrick. This path, where we need to use watermelons to open gates, is relatively easy, with no shines that could get in our way, unless we're not careful. Our next obstacle is the catapult board. Sadly, this forces us to pick up a few more shines, since it's unavoidable at this point, and we don't have enough spatulas to leave the level and go to downtown Bikini Bottom. Next up is this cave, which has driven my sanity down so far I can't even describe it in this single video. The fact that I spent 45 minutes on the first section alone had made me want to throw my computer out the window. This cave has become my least favorite part of the challenge so far, mainly because of how tight the squeezes are and how easy it is to mess up and pick up a shine, forcing you to start all the way back at your last checkpoint. Not to mention the fireballs that will pop out of the underwater volcanoes and hit you almost at random every time they come out. What you want to do for this part is stay as close to the right wall as you can. This way you'll still be able to see in front of you and avoid any shiny objects on the way. Now there is a wall of tikis. This can be easily avoided by sticking to the side and jumping over it. I recommend sticking to the left side of the wall as it has a better chance of you getting over without setting off the thunder tiki in the middle. After that, there is no struggle. You just need to climb the walls without touching the shines that are in the middle, so stay to the sides and you should be perfectly fine. Once you reach the very top, now you just have to deal with another slide section. This section is actually really easy as long as you time your jumps and slide between the tikis. The only struggle that I had with this section was getting back to it whenever I would mess up. Realistically, this slide should only take you a few tries at max. This is also the part of the game where I learned you can hold backwards to slow down on the ramp. That actually made this part significantly easier than I thought it was going to be, which leads us into the final area of the entire cave. Sadly for this part, we can only really grab the sock by freezing the water. We aren't able to get the golden spatula at the end of the cave though, because of the amount of robots that are in our way and how difficult it would be to get the watermelon up there without it breaking first. Once out of the cave, it's pretty easy going for a while. We can climb the mountains some more without much problem. Our next issue is actually this tiki wall, because even if we did have a way around it, we would still have to pay this toll clam directly behind it. Though between that and the boss battle, you can actually skip a significant portion of the rest of this level. The only two notable things are the golden spatula and sock that you'll be collecting on the way up. It's finally time for the battle against King Jellyfish. The battle is really easy, like always, and there's nothing really notable about it. Just stay to the far side and you should avoid any of the shinies that are actually on the arena. After that, it's only a matter of grabbing the jelly and going down the final slide of this level. The slide itself was pretty easy. I was also able to do a small trick and get a sock on the way down. Sadly, the spatula at the end of the ramp is unreachable because of the shines that are in front of it. But with that said and done, we can go back to Squidward and claim the final spatula of Jellyfish Fields. And with that, we end the episode with 768 shines collected in Jellyfish Fields and in Spongebob's house. As I do feel like there are ways to improve this, I feel like for the time being this will be my best score. In the next episode we go to downtown Bikini Bottom. If you want to see it, please leave a like and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you next time.